assume you've caught up with The Last Dance and everything.
Oh yeah, for sure. I watched it both times it came on.
Man, I'm not obviously a huge Bulls fan myself, but watching that thing was insane. Like the quality of the production and the story behind it all.
Facts. It's crazy how much we thought we knew, and then we watched just one of the videos, and then we're just mind blown to how much we didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Yeah, we still got like 8 more episodes.
Man, they're teasing us putting 2 a week. I'm like, I can't wait another week for 2.
Exactly.
One of the biggest things I took away from it was, I think it was his rookie year, where the culture of the team was a little more party centric and everything. And that wasn't just his vibe and kind of his crowd. Yeah. And, if that's your thing, then it is. Do kind of what makes you happy. But for him, he didn't really give in to that pressure, and he just lived the life he wanted to live it in. I always think back to like how many young athletes these days, they get into that same environment, and that kind of peer pressure drags them in and do things they maybe don't want to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And then a few years go by, and then they wish they would have changed their ways a little bit, But the biggest thing I got from his rookie year is when his first practice, he said he just went straight at the leader, and he couldn't do it with his voice because he had no voice. He had to do it with his play, and I thought that was one of the dopest things. Man,
is that something that kind of resonated with you growing up? Did you have a little bit of that mentality as well when you go into practice sessions and stuff like that?
Yeah, I had that mentality of being at home because I'm the middle child. I have a younger brother, older brother. We're all close in age, and we all play basketball. So, I would always end up going out with my older brother just because that's what younger brother's supposed to do. He's supposed to challenge older brother. So I would always end up doing that. And then my younger brother, he would always come at me and my older brother too. So, so even before I started playing on like teams and organized basketball, I had that at the crib.
Did it bleed outside of basketball too? Other aspects of life or other sports where you guys were really competitive?
Video games.
Yeah.
Video games, always super competitive. I mean, we were young. We played Smash Bros. A lot. Back on the Nintendo 64, so we were always super competitive with that. And but besides, outside of the house, not really. We kept everything pretty much in-house.
Yeah, growing up in obviously with the Nigerian culture, Nigerian background and everything, has there anything from the culture or your upbringing with your parents that you've kind of pulled that kind of still sticks with you today when you play basketball?
Yeah, my parents, they came over here, my dad and my mom in the mid-'80s, and it was not easy at all, so they always tell me all the time about how hard it was when they were back in Nigeria and how many people wanted to get from Nigeria to the United States. So with that, I just don't take anything for granted, try and get better every single day because this thing you have, it doesn't come around twice. Yeah. And my parents, they work so hard. My mom, she still wakes up real early to get her work done. Even right now, even with the virus and we have to quarantine, she still wakes up early and around like 5 and stuff like that. And my dad, the same. So just always working hard and just never settling.
How young were you when this kind of first clicked in? Kind of the work ethic, working hard, the discipline.
Man, I was really young. I saw my parents doing this when I was in like kindergarten. I just remember just waking up early and them having to wake up early and them having to take 2 different shifts. My mom would take the night shift. My dad would wake us up early, drive like downtown Sac where my mom worked, drop us off so she could take us to school, even though our school was like right down the street. They didn't want to leave us at home alone, So I saw this real early. Now back then I didn't really like it too much, being a kid, we want to sleep in. But now as I got older, I started to realize how hard work pays off, and it did for them.
Yeah, our hard work obviously paid off for you, firstly by going to Washington State. Tell me a bit about that commitment process and how that was like being recruited and maybe some of the pressure that you were facing playing high school or prep ball, whatever it was, knowing that there might be scouts watching you and, one mistake might be that much more magnified.
Yeah, getting recruited and all that stuff, it's a lot of pressure for a high school kid. You know, me, I played for a team, Belmont Shore, out of LA, and me being from Sacramento, I would have to get on a flight every Thursday, Friday, fly down to LA, no practices, just go in the tournament, play in front of a lot of scouts. And it was fun. It was fun, but at the same time, you did feel the pressure of all the guys on ESPN.com, Rivals.com, talking about you, talking about your games and stuff. So you wanted to every time you went out there, you want to play your best and you want to show that you are the best. So so that at the same time, you made a lot of friendships. I still talk to a lot of guys I played AU with today, and so it was great. And I ended up going to Washington State, which is good for me.
Yeah. The flight from Sacramento to Washington State's a bit longer than the flight from Sac to LA.
Yeah, it is.
What was it like for you leaving home, going that much farther away? Was that a tough decision for you to make? Because I think for a lot of kids, they grow up in their home and it's hard for them to leave home, especially if this is the first time.
For me, honestly, it wasn't that hard because, like I said, me being from California, when I was a junior in high school, I decided to transfer from my school in Sacramento and go to Oak Cliff Academy, which was in Virginia. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I was living away from my parents since I was 16. So when I had to, when I made the decision to go to Washington State, it was easy because my parents could come see me more. They were one of the West Coast schools recruiting me at the time. So it was a no-brainer. So it was just one flight away from my parents. As in when I was in Virginia, they'd have to catch like 2 different flights and take like a two hour drive to Oak Cliff Academy because it's in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. But so when I got to Washington State, it was great. It wasn't that hard for me.
What were some of the things that kind of drew you to Washington State? Maybe not so much, the physical sense of basketball, but more the mental sense of it, like the culture, the mindset of the team, the philosophy.
It was good. It was good for me because, one of the things that drew me to them was it's real family oriented. My brother actually, he walked on there 2 years before I did. So some of the players on the team, they knew him. So, and they took me under their wing even before I stepped on campus, as soon as I committed. So, as soon as I got to campus, it was real family oriented. Me and my the other freshman, Josh Hawkinson, at the time, we're best friends. We were roommates for 3 years. So, just the real family aspect of things really drew me to them.
Did you feel more pressure playing at Washington State, or was it more pressure playing prep ball to get to Washington State?
You felt more pressure at Washington State. We weren't, in terms of record, we weren't the best. So you want that pressure to just turn things around as best you could and get into the NBA. So those two things alone kind of were way bigger than trying to get scouted and get a scholarship.
Yeah. Obviously, like you mentioned, some of the years you had there weren't the greatest of years record wise. How tough is it as a basketball player to kind of go through years like that and keep your head up? And maybe what were some of the things that you did to kind of look more towards the future and not get too dwelled up on the past?
It's very hard. I don't think people recognize that enough. The mental aspect of things when things aren't going well and everyone knows it and people are saying things, this, that, and the third about the team and yourself and you're trying your best to change things and it just wasn't working out. So, it was tough. It was tough on not just myself, but the whole, our whole team and our coaching staffs as well. So, but the things I did to just get through all that was just stay in the gym as much as I could and do my best to stay away from the negativity and just understand that there's better days ahead and just to keep on pushing.
Were there people that you like kind of relied on, people you looked up to kind of get those kind of words of advice from, those strategies from, or were these things that you kind of picked up on your own?
There's people I looked up to, my family for sure, my brothers, my mom and dad. They always told me like there's worse things in the world. You know, there's I know a lot of people in Nigeria that would love to be in the position I'm in. So they would tell me things like that, and then my mentor Clarence Morgan would help me out a lot. So yeah, I just look to the people in my circle to just help me in those situations.
Yeah. You had a pretty crazy story playing for the Clippers a couple of years back where you kind of were watching the highlights and then you get called in. Walk me through a bit about your emotions and how you were able to kind of stay a bit grounded and not get too caught up in the hype. Because obviously for a lot of people, when they get their first call up to the NBA, it's just one of the most like outrageous moments in their life, and they can get really caught up in things.
I remember that day a lot. You know, it's funny because a lot of people have asked me to retell that story. but yeah, I mean, I was working. It was just normal. It was just a normal day for me. Just wake up, go do some yoga. Then from yoga, go work out. I think it was 9 a.m. for my 9 a.m. workout. And then after that, came back to the crib and I was just relaxed on the couch, and NBA TV was on, and they were playing the Clippers versus the Kings, and it was just a normal day. And then my agent at the time calls me and asks me how far I was from the airport, and I said I was about 30 minutes, give or take, depending on traffic. And the thing about it was Washington State. This was only a few months after I had graduated, and Washington State football was playing Cal in the Bay, and I knew a lot of people that were going to be there. And me being from Sacramento, I was actually thinking about right after I was thinking about leaving leaving early to go to that game, like only a few hours after, if I didn't get called. So if I would have left for that game and they would have called me, then I would have missed my chance, you know. So back to the story. So chilling on the couch watching the Clippers versus the Kings, my agent called me saying how far I am from the airport. I was like, 30 minutes. He was like, all right, I need you to just throw anything you can in the bag and go to the airport. You're going to be playing in the game tonight, in the last preseason game versus the Lakers. You're going to be playing for the Clippers. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, just get to the airport and I'll explain things on the way. I was like, all right. So luckily my mom was home at the time, so she gave me a ride, and she was in the middle of work too. I was like, Mom, I need to get to the airport. She's like, what for? I was like, my agent just called, told me I'm going to be playing in Staples Center tonight for the Clippers. I don't know what's going on. Just get me to the airport. She said, okay. So got me to the airport, and then my agent got me the flight. I get to the gate, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna get on my flight. The only thing was, the flight that I was on was going to Burbank, and the game started at 7 in Burbank. Because of LA traffic, Burbank was way too far out. So my agent was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. But then the gate next to me was going to LAX. So then I go to the gate next to me, and they're saying the flight was full. And I was like, are you sure? Is there any way I can get on the flight? I'll pay whatever I have to pay. And then the lady at the kiosk, she checks again. And she's like, oh, wait, we have one seat. You can have it. And I was like, okay, cool. Got on that flight. Then by this time I sweat. I'm running around and stuff like this, you know. So I have on like my best fit at the time.
Yeah.
I'm not sweating. I'm sweating right through my fit. So then I get to LAX, and they had D Brown waiting for me there, and he would eventually be the GM for their G League team that I would eventually play on months after that. So then D Brown meets me there, and I got my bags, all that stuff. And then they got us a car. We get in the car, and they're showing me the sets. And I was like, okay. And as he showed me the sets, I started realizing that everything's not too complicated. You know, the Clippers at the time, they had is this CP? I don't know if they had CP at the time. There might have been this last year, but I don't remember seeing them. But the Clippers had real easy sets, and it was easy just for me I could see myself just blending in and getting and fitting right in their offense. So
go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, what were some of the kind of the mental lessons you kind of took from that whole crazy day? Everything kind of gets flipped up on you in 1 second.
Oh yeah.
what are some of the mental lessons that you've kind of taken from that experience that you still live by to this day and try to implement when you're playing basketball or preparing for a basketball game even?
Oh, you just focus on everything that's in front of you. Don't think about. I remember this. I remember telling myself, don't think about being in Staples Center, playing for the Clippers versus the Lakers. Just go out there and just play basketball like you were doing a few hours ago at your workout. So don't even trip about who's guarding you. Don't even, just make everything as simple as possible. That's the biggest thing. Just focus on everything in front of you and just make everything as simple as possible. And at the end of the day, you've been doing this your whole life. So just go out there and have fun with it. And then, so then he shows me the plays. I get to Staples Center. I see Doc. He dashed me up, asks me if I'm ready to go. Asked me if I'm ready to play 40 minutes tonight. And I was like, of course.
You got all the adrenaline in you, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then they had me doing like a test for my heart and like basically a physical. So I had to get on a treadmill and I did. I think I don't remember how long I ran for, but it was a good amount. Once I was on the treadmill for maybe like 15 minutes. So I did that, and then after that, I got shots up, and then we have our team meeting right before the game, and everyone was being real cool about it. DeAndre was real cool, Lou Will, Pat Bev, everybody was being real cool about it. And right before we went out, put our hands up, and then we're having like a little, you know how teams do it.
Yeah.
Have a little huddle and stuff like that. And then Lou Will said, man, I'll never forget this. He said this man had a workout, got on a plane and ended up at LAX. So y'all boys just go out there and show out. And then he ended up having a good game. And I remember just doing my thing for the minutes I had.
Yeah. It's gotta be an amazing feeling afterwards, knowing, how much the team kind of rallies around you and everything, knowing your story and stuff. That's gotta feel pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was dope, man. They showed me a lot of love. And it was a TNT game. And I just remember my phone was going crazy after that game. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous how much my phone was going crazy. But the guys showed me a lot of love, and then I ended up signing with their G League team the next day, which was great for me because that was a great situation as well. So it was just a really good day.
I like how you mentioned how you didn't kind of look too far ahead in the future and just looking kind of what's in front of you. Because I think for a lot of kids out there, they have aspirations of like playing in the NBA or being NBA All-Star and stuff, but they kind of forget about the little things they got to do to get on the way, whether it's play at college or kill it at college, get drafted or be signed or anything. So how often are you kind of setting goals for yourself, and kind of what's your timeline of goals? Are you looking at things daily? Are you looking at things weekly or monthly?
Honestly, right now it's daily right now. Especially with everything going on, no one knows how much longer we're gonna have to be quarantined or what things are gonna look like even after. So setting daily goals is like the biggest thing for myself because just if getting things done brick by brick, I understand that long down the road it's gonna be better for me. And it's great to set tremendous goals for yourself. I think no one should sell us some short, but to understand that the little things matter and just trying to get better just a little bit every single day goes a long way. So just setting small goals for yourself day by day, understanding that those small goals are going to eventually turn into getting your big goals accomplished. Is the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm. We talked a bit about kind of maybe managing emotions or feeling a bit of pressure playing for some pro teams, but I think for a lot of athletes, it might get amplified a bit when you're playing for a national team. I know you've had some time with the Nigerian team. Walk me through your emotions when you got first kind of called up to that team and able to represent your home country. Yeah,
man, it's some of the most fun I've had playing basketball, playing for the Nigerian national team. The way that even happened was Ike Iroegbu, who was the 9th pick in the I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, I'm pretty sure it was the 04 draft. He was at Summer League my first time there. and we met, and he asked me if I want to play for the national team. And people have always asked me before this if I wanted to play, and I was like, sure, I would. Of course, I'd love to, but I just don't know who to talk to, you know. So yeah, he and he's been on the national team for years now. He's one of the head figures of the team, and he was talking to me, asking if I want to play. I said, of course. So I took his number down, and then a few weeks later, the coach had called me to ask me to play in AfroBasket. And at the time, I didn't know what AfroBasket was, and basically it's the best. It's all the teams in Africa, all the countries in Africa get their national team together and put them in one big tournament, and they play to see who's the winner. And Africa won, and Nigeria won back in 2015. So we were looked at to come back and win it again. And most people in the U.S., they don't really understand how big it is. But in Europe, it's huge. EuroBasket is it's the EuroBasket, the World Cup, and then the Olympics. So when I got there, I really didn't know how big. I didn't even know how big it was. But I was listening to Ike Iroegbu, and he was like, "Trust me that you want to play in this with your abilities. You can you'll just go out there and kill it, and just trust me on it." So I was like, "All right." So first we went to Buffalo, New York, and then we were in Buffalo for about a week, maybe 10 days. And then from Buffalo, we went to Lagos, Nigeria, and we had training camp out there, which was great. Just to be in Nigeria, it was my first time being back since I was about 12, and so yeah, so we get to Lagos, Nigeria. I see a lot of family that I haven't seen since I was a young kid, and so we're there for about another 10 days, and then from Lagos we go to where's the games at? Sorry, I'm going blank. Where are the games at? Tunisia.
Right.
So we go to Tunisia for the games, and it was literally the craziest thing I've ever seen in terms of how much emotion the fans have, how much they cared about the game. I never been in that environment. I tell people this all the time because in college I never went to the dance. I never danced at the in March Madness. So for me going there, it felt like a March Madness type of level or even bigger because I have a whole country on my chest instead of a school. And it was just great for me to be able to experience that. And whenever you're playing for your country, it's just you get a sense of pride, and you don't want to let anyone down. And you make memories that last a lifetime. You meet friends from all over the world, just coming together, just try and put on for 200 plus million people. So yeah, it's really a feeling you really can't explain until you do it yourself. But yeah, I love every bit of every ounce of it. So yeah, playing for your national team is something different.
That emotional crowd you talked about, almost March Madness like crowd. Did you try and block it out and just try to focus on your game, or is it something that you embraced and let it fuel you throughout the game?
Oh yes, you definitely got to embrace it. I mean, for us, we played in the championship against Tunisia, and the games were in Tunisia. So literally everyone in the gym wants you to lose, except for the other 12 to maybe 18 people that you're with, you know? So,
yeah.
So I mean, we might have had maybe no more than 30 fans in there compared to a place that sat, I think, maybe 15,000. 15. It was ridiculous. But yeah, they had blowhorns. They had their chants. They had oh my God, it was just so ridiculous. And I try to find pictures of it, but you really can't see how big the crowd was, you know. And one thing that made it cool is we're warming up, and then they shut all the lights out, and then everyone puts on their the flashlight of their phones. So like it basically felt like just a big concert.
Yeah.
And we were there to put on a show. So playing against Tunisia back in 2017 was great. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but the experience itself just let me know how much how much I wanted to do this for years to go on, is to represent my country.
Yeah, that's got to be like the pinnacle of an athlete, is the pride you feel in representing your country. It's one thing to play for your pro team where you might not have grown up being a Clippers fan or what have you. If you grew up in Sacramento, you're maybe a Kings fan to some degree. But that pride that you feel from the national team, I think that's what a lot of athletes strive for. And that's really when you kind of realize how much you love the game and how much of a passion you have for it, when you get that kind of family history brought back up, and you just have those overwhelming emotions.
For sure, 1,000%.
When you're in those big games, I guess it could apply to any game really, and you kind of notice you're missing your first couple shots and they're not going in, the game's not going your way. What are some of the mental things you're doing to get yourself back on track so that you don't kind of enter that downward spiral?
Just tell yourself to just take the easy ones. And one thing I tell myself, if things offensively aren't going, then just try to help do whatever I can on defense. Because I could get an easy steal or just an easy defensive play to just get my rhythm going. And one of the things when defense leads to great offense, you'll find yourself in the flow of the game. So just affecting the game defensively, even if your shots aren't going in. And just try to take the easy ones, get into the free throw line maybe, using that to get your shot going. Just seeing the ball that's going to the basket just really helps.
And I think confidence plays a huge factor in that too, that if you're not a confident player, then you can't really navigate the different options you have and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. You always want to keep your confidence on 10 and always understand that there's always time left in the game to get hot. It's never too late to get hot. So just don't let your confidence waver and just stay in attack mode, even if things aren't going in.
In between games, are there anything you do particularly to keep that confidence high? Because I think for a lot of athletes, they'll have a bad game or a couple bad games in a row, and they start doubting themselves. Maybe they're not as good as they thought they were, or maybe they're starting to decrease in their level of play. But is there anything that you're doing specifically if you have a couple, run of bad games, that you kind of look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, I know who I am. Like, I know I can ball. Let me just hit the next one, with the same intensity that I usually would?
Just getting in the gym more. Even when things are going in, getting in the gym more. When things are going bad, getting in the gym more. Just understand and staying true to my sorry, someone just walked by. Just understand staying true to my, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my God, I keep going blank. Oh my God. That's my rhythm.
Your flow?
Nah, not the flow. It's not a schedule, but my routine. Oh my gosh. Come on.
There you go.
People are gonna watch this and think I'm crazy. But yeah, just staying true to my routine and just doing my best and not let my confidence waver at all. And understand that everyone has bad games. Even the best players have bad games. But they still come out and do their thing the next game. So just striving to get to that next level and just take things day by day.
Yeah, that's something I do when I talk with consult with or coach a lot of younger athletes is, they're 10, 11, 12 years old. They mostly are hockey players up here in Canada I talk to, but they can apply to any sport where when you're, that young of an age, or probably even when you get a bit older, is you are trying to compare yourself to the best players in the world. Like you want to shoot 100% from three or something, right? Or you want to get every shot in the net. But when you look at like the best NBA players, like the best 3-pointers in the league, whether it's Curry or Durant or whoever, Buddy Hield, they're only shooting like maybe 40, 45%, maybe 50%.
Exactly.
They're lucky. Exactly. Right? The best in the world are only doing it half of the time. So you can strive to be perfect, but
you can try to be perfect, but even superstars, they might have like back-to-back 30, 40-point games, But somewhere down the line, they're gonna have that maybe that 8-point game or that 12-point game that usually isn't like them, but they have them. Even the best players in the world have bad games, you know, unless you're Kevin Durant and just dropping 40 in your sleep, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone 99.99% of athletes have bad games.
Just part of life. Yeah. And the same thing, like not every team, the best team in the league doesn't go 82-0 every year. They lose 10, 20 games, right?
Yeah, and sometimes even that person that you like that you love to watch that's averaging 30, maybe he's on a losing team. And maybe if you ask him, he probably would swap some of those points for wins, you know? Yeah. So you can never even not even points, but just stats in general, you can never just assume that that they can just do this in your sleep, or even you can do it just back to back to back. You always have to go in there day by day, just working, hoping on just working for the best outcome, you know?
Yeah.
So you never want to, just never want to just compare yourself to going 15 for 15 from the field, 8 for 8 from the free throw line, because things like that don't happen.
Yeah, you know? That's something I see a lot of kids I talk to struggle with as well, is they can have like a really good game stat line wise, but if their team loses, they feel like they had a bad game. Whereas like they feel like if their team won, but they had bad stats, then they feel like they had a bad game, even though their team kind of won. So they get really hung up on the stats and everything. And I try and really work with them. I'm like, man, you can't focus on the stats because your stats are up and down, up and down. You just got to keep doing what you do, and eventually the stats will be there. But the most important thing is the winning, because that's you play to win the game. It's like I think it was Herm Edwards, the old football coach, said you play to win the game.
Yeah, just you always, no matter what, play to win, good or bad. Depending on, like, even if you have a good game or not, if you win, great. If you play a good game and you win, that's a great feeling. If you play a bad game and you win, that just tells you if you would have played good, you would have won by 20. You know, so you always want to play to win, and if you put stats first, then it's gonna take you down a path that you wish you could get out of. Really.
This kind of approach you have to the game from the mental side of things, is this something that you've always kind of carried with you? Or when you were a bit earlier on playing basketball, did you kind of, like you said, if you didn't go 15 for 15, you thought you had a bad game?
Yeah, early on as a kid, I used to, you just want to be a perfectionist. But as I got older, I understood, like I said, like everyone has bad games, and just to understand, just as if I'm trying to win like I am, and I'm trying to get better each and every day, that everything will just fall into place. So it took time for me to get there, and I understood Rome couldn't be built in one day.
Exactly.
So so I just kind of took those things with me.
That's what I was going to say. It's not a overnight thing to get the mentality you need to get to, right? Like you can't just go one day with reading a book and then expect the next day for you to be same mentality as Mike Jordan or whoever it is, right?
It's definitely not one day.
Months and probably years.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, man, before we wrap up here, I want to get your take through, your time playing prep ball, Washington State, time with the G League, Nigerian team, everything. You've been around a lot of professionals. You've been through a lot of things yourself. What's kind of one piece of advice from the mental side of the game that you would give maybe young kids out there that are, playing the prep ball, looking to make that next step to college or have those pro aspirations?
Easily just, you see where the game basketball is going, it's less athleticism and more fundamentals. To work as hard as you can to understand the ins and outs of the game and the fundamentals of it, because that's going to take you far. You can jump high, and you can dunk, and you might be really fast, but if you understand the fundamentals and the little things and work on those every single day, it's going to take you a long way.
Yeah. It's a perfect example of that would be like Vince Carter, someone that in his prime, he was one of the best dunkers, the most athletic guys in the league. And now when he's creeping age, I think he just retired, actually. This is his last season. But but he's like 41, 42 years old, and he's not the same kid he was when he was 20, slam dunking and everything. He was he's relying on his IQ, his knowledge of the game, and the fundamentals, everything like you described.
It's great because he reinvented himself, which is beautiful to see, you know. And it's not easy, and that's not an easy thing to do, not just for an athlete, but for a person in general. To reinvent yourself like the way he did, from being to being the best dunker that we've seen, to being a good player, to a consistent 3-point threat and stuff like that. And another thing I would say to someone young with aspirations of dreaming big is to just make sure to focus on your mental. You know, that's one of the biggest things. Just getting your mental right, being mentally sound, mentally tough. It doesn't get easier as you go up in levels. You know, it gets harder and harder. So staying mentally tough is another thing I would say to someone younger with aspirations of making their dreams come true.
It's unbelievable too how much, when you make progress in the mental side of the game in basketball or any sport that matter, how much it translates to your personal life. Like as you get more confident in basketball and you learn to be more of a team player and more like how to deal with losses more, it's only going to help you in life to be more confident, you know, at another job or with, you know, girls or guys or whatever way you go, or whatever it is.
You know, for sure. Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah. And once you get that mental side down, things tend to fall into place, and it's beautiful to see.
Listen, man, appreciate you taking some time today. Hope you and your family are continuing to stay safe, and we all kind of get through this unscathed. And appreciate you again taking some time.
Thank you. You too, and stay safe out there. Appreciate it.